Imagine waking up one morning to find out the heart of your town has stopped beating. That's exactly what happened in America's Heartland when KIH, one of the biggest names in farming machinery, dropped a bombshell. Overnight, they shut down their factories, leaving thousands jobless and entire communities in shock. This wasn't just a layoff, it was a corporate earthquake, and the aftershocks are still rattling the Midwest. Let's dig into how this all went down and why it's more than just a business decision. It's a story of broken trust and crumbling towns. It started with a memo. No warning, no whispers, just a cold corporate announcement. KIH was pulling the plug on its U.S. factories, moving everything to Brazil, Germany, and India. While KIH has expanded operations in these countries, there is no verified evidence of a complete shutdown of U.S. factories. For workers in places like Racine and Fargo, it was like a punch to the gut. One day, they were building the iconic red tractors that farmers relied on. The next, they were carrying cardboard boxes out of silent factories. These weren't just jobs, they were legacies. Generations of families had worked for KIH, proud to be part of something bigger. Now that pride has turned to anger. The fallout was instant. Farmers who'd sworn by KIH for decades were left scrambling. Need a part for your tractor? Good luck. It's stuck on a boat somewhere. Before we continue, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel with the bell notification turned on for more videos. Supply chain issues have indeed plagued the agricultural equipment industry, including KIH. Planting season around the corner? Too bad the supply chain's in shambles. Meanwhile, KIH's execs stayed quiet, hiding behind sterile press releases. It's one thing to move jobs overseas for cheaper labor, but another to do it without a word to the people who built your brand. But the real tragedy isn't just the lost jobs. It's the collapse of entire towns. Picture Main Street with half its shops closed because the factory workers aren't there to buy coffee, fill up their trucks, or grab lunch. Schools are losing kids as families move away, and local banks are sweating over mortgages they might never see paid. Even the Little League teams are hurting. KIH used to sponsor everything from uniforms to trophies. While KIH has historically supported community initiatives, there's no verified evidence of a complete withdrawal from sponsorships. Now, crickets. The silence in these towns is deafening. And it's not just the sound of idle factories. It's the sound of communities unraveling. Farming runs on tight schedules, and Kesh's sudden exit threw everything into chaos. Broken tractors can't be fixed without parts, and delays mean missed harvests. Smaller farms already stretched thin are facing impossible choices. Pay sky-high prices for imported machinery, or risk going under. Some are selling off their land while others are switching brands, painting over their red tractors in protest. The trust is gone, and once that's broken, it's hard to get back. Let's talk about the insult added to injury. While American workers were cleaning out their lockers, KIH was posting job ads for their new factories overseas. They wanted the same skilled welders and engineers, just not in the U.S. It's like breaking up with someone and then asking them to help you move in with your new partner. The rage is real, and it's not just about money. It's about pride. These towns didn't just lose jobs. They lost a piece of their identity. So, where does this leave us? Kichi's decision isn't just a corporate blunder. It's a wake-up call. When a company can vanish overnight, taking jobs and hope with it, what does that say about the future of rural America? The farmers, workers, and small businesses left behind aren't just fighting for paychecks. They're fighting for a way of life. And as the dust settles, one question hangs in the air. Who's next? If you thought the factory closures were bad, wait until you hear about the supply chain mess. KIH didn't just take jobs overseas. They left a trail of broken promises and empty parts bins. Farmers who'd relied on quick repairs suddenly found themselves stuck in a nightmare. A broken sensor? That'll be 6 weeks if you're lucky. Hydraulic hose burst? Better start praying because the replacements are stuck in customs. Mechanics who once had parts delivered overnight now had to get creative, jury-rigging fixes or scavenging from old machines. Some even turned to 3D printing makeshift components like something out of a post-apocalyptic farm saga. Dealerships were hit just as hard. Imagine walking into your local KIH shop only to find the service bay closed and the shelves bare. Technicians stood around with nothing to do while furious farmers demanded answers. Warranty claims piled up like unpaid bills, and customer service lines were jammed with calls that went nowhere. The worst part, KIH's legal team was busy sending cease and desist letters to aftermarket suppliers trying to fill the gap. So much for supporting the farming community. Meanwhile, the competition smelled blood in the water. Brands like John Deere and Kubota swooped in offering discounts to farmers willing to ditch their red machines. Used KIH tractors flooded the market, selling for pennies on the dollar. At county fairs, where KIH's gleaming displays once drew crowds, rival companies set up shop, handing out free hats and coffee mugs like it was a corporate gold rush. The message was clear. We're still here, and farmers listened. Loyalty that had taken generations to build evaporated in months. But the real kicker? KIH's tone-deaf response. While towns collapsed, executives hid behind buzzwords like global optimization and strategic realignment. No apologies, no town halls, just press releases that sounded like they were written by a robot. Meanwhile, workers in their 50s and 60s faced a brutal reality. Too young to retire, too old to start over. Some packed up and moved, others stayed clinging to hope that never came. The federal government offered little help, and local leaders scrambled for solutions that didn't exist. Then came the lawsuits. Farmers, dealers, and suppliers banded together accusing KIH of betrayal and bad faith. Some claims alleged the company had planned this move for years but kept it quiet to avoid backlash. Others pointed to the skyrocketing costs of imported machinery price hikes that felt like salt in the wound. Courts will decide the legal outcome, but in the court of public opinion, KIH had already lost. Their red tractors, once symbols of American grit, were now relics of broken trust. And let's talk about the kids. Farm families who dreamed of passing down their KIH machines to the next generation suddenly didn't want their kids touching them. Trade schools stopped teaching KIH-specific repairs, and scholarships the company once funded dried out. So what's next? Some believe KIH could still salvage its reputation if they admit their mistakes, reinvest in U.S. jobs, and actually listen to farmers. But others say the damage is done. When you trade loyalty for short-term profits, you don't just lose customers, you lose your soul. The rise of smaller farmer-first startups might be the silver lining here, proving that innovation doesn't have to come at the cost of community. One thing's for sure, this isn't just about tractors. It's about whether corporate America still values the people who built it, or if profits will always come first. For now, the fields are quieter, the factories are dark, and the future of rural America hangs in the balance. The red era might be over, but the fight for what comes next is just beginning.